Today, we're presenting a total of 10 cases split into the 3 rounds, and after each round, we will have a quick Q&A session where we'll be able to address your questions about any particular case. So, the first case will be presented by me. It is not a secret that internet has become one of the most important parts of our everyday life. A stable connection is crucial for both work and leisure. With this in mind, our first case shows how VLAN can be used by the internet provider in order to stay at the forefront of providing excellent and unmatched customer experience. Zain is an ISP from Zanzibar with the multiple POP sites with the internet equipment across the island. As per the SLA, the uptime should be 99 to 99%. However, the equipment needed to be rebooted due to the environmental conditions, maintenance, and network traffic. At that time, the end customer was sending his staff for restarting the equipment physically, and the sites are usually located between 30 to 60 kilometers from the office. So it was a burden to travel such long distances, plus if any accidents would occur on the road, so that would be rather inconvenient. Furthermore, the customer had absolutely no visibility on what's happening at the sites remotely. Hence, if they would lose any power, or if there will be intermittent power cuts, they wouldn't be able to control the situation. This would mean the loss of internet for the entire area. Our partner Ahmed have installed the integrated system that would be able to function for monitoring power, temperature, and critical equipment at the sites. Power relays were utilized to monitor the mains power and inverters power. Since the POP sites had to be aligned 24 hours a day, any power offs had to be complemented with inverters being on and vice versa. Alerts were conveniently set up to alert the client's operations control center. Besides that, our partner have also built electrical circuits to measure inverters' battery voltages and its overall health. And scheduled notifications were used to alert depletion so that the client could arrange any fallback measures in advance. Temperature sensors were also used for all the sites, so to control the equipment from overheating. Reports and dashboards via Sentilator were implemented to have a full visual check of the sites. They included information of their power consumption and equipment statuses. Virtual commands were used to start the equipment remotely, and this has drastically minimized the fact that they no longer require to physically visit the site. And instant notifications were set up and sent to alert the operation team of any critical state changes. Just in a month, customer reported a huge savings in terms of traveling to each site. Now they have minimized to roughly 2 visits per site per month. And considering the fact that they were traveling around 50 kilometers every single time, that has definitely minimized their efforts. Plus, the staff can now be involved in other operations, more important operations for the company. Due to the smart VLAN implementation, now Zain meets the SLA uptime standards, and it's dramatically reinforced their commitment to providing excellent services in their area. That's it for this case, and next one will be presented by Karina.
Well, I'm sure most of us here travel often. Well, at least we used to travel often. In most cases, like it's either a business or a vacation trip. Whenever you travel outside, you use public transportation instead of the private one. Before the pandemic, I had plans to visit Colombia this year. Well, with the situation and all, I can only afford to visit Colombia within this presentation. The project I'm going to talk about today is from our partner, Untitled Chapter, and they're based in Colombia. They have a client company that specializes in transportation of employees and tourists. The client was very pessimistic at the beginning, since they already had experience with dispatch solutions before and it wasn't successful. The client was still using manual calculations for trips and stops, literally printing out the sheets of paper to record the bus timings. They also hired 8 people and placed them across the city to record the bus timings manually. The recordings would be submitted to the office by the end of the day, and the office would manually check the drivers who were late early on time only by the end of the day within the office. They had a penalty system for the bus drivers, so whenever they would be late, they would be penalized $1.5. They somehow managed the business, however, they had a lot of problems. Obviously, one of them is that the fact that they were offline and all of the recordings were on paper. The information about the drivers would only be available at the end of the day and after calculated by the main office. So the problem they had is that the drivers were using the buses to make detours to make a small buck to have extra money. One of the main problems that the company had was that they would need to hire 8 people to do the monkey job. Apart from the solution, our partners still had to fight the resistance from the drivers as the client and their team were skeptical first, since they already had the solution before. So for the solution implementation, our partner has used NimBus to create schedules, stops, and the routes. Furthermore, they use a very standard GPS tracking device. The only requirement would be that the device should be sending the messages every 5 seconds. To charm away the clients, they have developed their own custom delay interface that would show the bus, its time, its exact location, if it's early, on time, or late. They also integrated VLM with the client's ERP system, which was designed to calculate the drivers' penalties. It was not easy for the partner to introduce a solution for the client, since they had to fight the resistance from the drivers and the adaptation period for the partner's client. But I still think that the interesting point for the end client was that when they connected a big TV in the client's office and connected NimBus to showcase the routes of the buses. They also provided second access to the operator to monitor the buses, to monitor their custom delay interface. As a result, the client was pretty much happy with the solution. Now they could monitor their fleet online. Using the custom interface, the operator would know exactly the exact location of the bus, if it's on time, early or late. Since most of the monitoring and the solution was automated and online, they would only need 2 people. One of them to be in touch with the drivers and the second one to monitor them. The solution has also increased the passenger satisfaction, since there were much less delays from the buses. It has been claimed by the client that they have saved about $28,000 within the first year alone using the solution. That's it for this case. Zain, if you could take over.
This next case comes from Egypt. Our end customer, Appliance, is in the business for telecom services. Their main business was to distribute SIM cards and data services in all 27 states of Egypt. For this, they had 50 people in their team who were responsible to visit various corporate locations throughout the day. For this, the management here was facing difficulties to coordinate their sales team and their locations. They required a solution that can help them optimize the routes taken by the team and evaluate their sales activities throughout the day. The end client also tried using some free applications that were available on Google Play and App Stores, but they didn't help them much. Due to all of these complications, they were facing losses in their business, and they knew that they needed to do something about this. They were interested in a solution that can bring them positive outcome. Our partner Cloud Services Group in Egypt offered them with a solution which was a combination of VATAC and VLON. First, they installed VATAC mobile application in the mobile phone of each salesperson, and they trained them on how they can use a simple mobile application which can bring them the desired results. In VLON, they created notifications so that whenever a client is approached by a salesperson, the locations were saved as checkpoints. The duration and the result of the sales process was also registered. For their convenience, they used VLON API to push all the information into their own CRM dashboard. This way, the senior management could now record the real functional data for every single sale done by their sales team throughout the day or a month. As a result, this implementation really helped the end client to quickly adapt to the solution, as there was no time spent to acquiring the trackers. Now, with the ease of route optimization, they were able to coordinate their sales operations and approach maximum number of clients. By the end of the month, they would generate reports in VLON and evaluate the performance of their sales team to generate their incentives, which were based on their monthly targets. The solution also brought commercial benefits to the end client. On average, their sales percentage had increased 20% every month. After this satisfactory result, from using the solution, they also took an initiative to reward their salesperson who used the VATAC application the most. Now, moving on to our Q&A session, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to ask a question.
Hello, I am Talia from Suez, Ivory Coast. For the last case you show about the distribution, we try to make the same in Ivory Coast, and it would be interesting for me to get the type of notification you make in your case.
Yes, sure, you can generate, you can set up such notifications in VLON, and we can discuss this during the coffee break. We have our implementation specialist who can guide you with steps here. Any other questions?
Not a surprise here, tires can be rather expensive depending on the size and the quality. For the quick research, we can see that the tire price for small truck is around $360, and that would be quite hefty, if you need to costly change it. So our next case is exactly about this. Our end customer from Egypt, unpaid for feed and trade, has experienced some money losses for constant tire changing. The main business of the customer is transportation of goods across the retailers in the country, and their drivers have been evaluated on a speed of delivery and the trip time. And unfortunately, this resulted in the fact that they were not paying attention to the tire conditions, and they would ignore critical issues and they were not reporting it to the management to avoid a quick wear off of the tires. Moreover, they would steal the tires by replacing the new ones with the worn off ones, and it was difficult to control that for the management. At that time, their customer was using a very basic solution, which was not able to help here whatsoever, and they were not even checking fuel consumption, so we can see how basic the solution was. So our partner, followed by cars, have taken a detailed approach to the solution. So the key factor of the solution was to integrate a GPS tracking device with a system that would be able to control temperature and the pressure in the tire. So in this case, the solution from Continental have been used together with their system and sensors as well. For a motor tracking device was reading a canvas data for a full vehicle analysis and the fuel as well. After that, the temperature and pressure values, together with all of the other parameters, have been sent to VLON and set as the sensors for each of the vehicles. The fleet of the customer consists of around 70 vehicles. So creating so many sensors for each vehicle, it would be let's say, rather inconvenient for the controlling. So what Parker did, he's taken the next step and developed a custom interface for using our Build API. And for this way, it was easier to analyze the fleet and see each performance of each tire and see what's happening with the fleet at the moment. Yeah, so that's a simplified process. This solution proven to be utmost efficiency. After the implementation, the end customer reported nearly 20% on tire changes and also a 5 to 7% reduction on fuel consumption.
Mr. Samir, you said minus 18 degrees, right? The tanks were located in the forest of Khanty in Russia, and the weather there goes from minus 20 degrees on average, and they have about 9 months of winter. The coldest period recorded in the area was minus 50 degrees. It doesn't happen often, but it's still like a very low number. If you would live in that area, you would probably know the number of the refrigerator because you wouldn't probably need it over there. So, considering the extreme weather conditions, the client with the fuel tanks needed a very precise fuel level measurement because incorrect measurement could mean a lot of fuels. Whenever it would get warmer, the fuels in the fuel tanks would expand in volume, and they could literally pour out of the fuel tanks, and considering the size of the tanks, it could easily mean hundreds of liters of fuel. Our partner had a very technical approach to the task. To increase the reception, they have used antennas with every single GPS tracking device. Since the fuel reservoirs were tall, they were forced to use 4-meter long fuel level sensors. It was already a challenge to transport 4-meter long fuel level sensors, but it was even more difficult considering the extreme weather conditions in the area. To resolve the issue with electricity, they have decided to go green and install the solar panels with every tanker, as you can see in the picture. They also attached batteries with every solar panel, so batteries would be charged during the day using the power of the sun, and they would supply the electricity to the GPS trackers during the night. Again, the temperature diapason is big. It's literally fluctuating from minus 20 degrees to plus 20 degrees, because the area and the extreme weather conditions. So they would need very accurate fuel levels measurements to consider the weather changes and the extreme cold. Well, they decided to use the calculation formulas available in the VLN's own fuel control, which definitely did not disappoint the client. As a result, the client was happy with the solutions because now they could monitor their fuel tanks online. Using the power of the sun, they would know the fuel levels 24/7. Also, they had an option of monitoring the battery levels of the batteries of the solar panels, all because they can with VLN. The client has seen a drastic drop in fuel spillage thanks to the VLN calculations, and again because they could monitor the fuel tanks all the time. They would also use VLN's own open API to integrate the data with client's ERP system, which apparently was a big bonus and a surprise for the client. But I still think that the biggest benefit for the client was the fact that for our partner, it took them the entire 5 days to install the first 2 GPS trackers. So the biggest benefit for the client was that he didn't have to visit the fuel tanks more than twice a month. That's it for this case. Zain? You go.
So increasing population levels, growing economy, and rapid increase in urban living standards have brought waste management in demand. Our next case comes from France, where end user Gurtam had a contract with the municipality for the collecting of waste from various locations throughout the city. According to the municipal contract, the end client should scan the RFID tags installed on the waste bins when they were in solution or even trackers installed in their truck. Without any solutions, they already received 3 hefty penalties, which was due to non-compliance of the points clauses mentioned in their contract. Also, the municipality had warned them of revoking of their contracts if such failures were repeated. In search of solution, the end client contacted our partner, Georeference, based in France. Our partners offered them with VLON to fulfill the complex tracking requirements which were needed. First, they installed trackers in the vehicles with RFID reader, which were able to scan the tags that were already installed on the waste bin. Using VLON, now they could monitor the real-time location of the trucks and check if they were on their allotted routes. They created geofences on waste collection points to record attendance of each specified spot. Many types of sensors were added in VLON, helping them to receive and record data on their daily waste collection operations. It became easier for the client to manage workforce and working time shift for his driver, as he could use driver identification in VLON. Automated daily reports were set on different vehicle groups, which showed information like the driver's name, location, total waste bins attended, and trip details. As a result, the end client is happy with the management solution. In general, the workflow of his fleet has improved. Less supervision is required as most of the operations are now evaluated by VLON. With road optimization, maximum number of waste bins are attended, which means that one of the main clause was fulfilled, which was mentioned by the municipality. They sent monthly reports to the municipality as a proof of their effective operations concluded. With all these efforts, they were able to continue with their agreement on also avoiding to have any other penalty. Next, we have our Q&A session. So please feel free to ask your questions.
Hi, can you please wait for the microphone just to respect the guys who are trying to watch the
Sure, thank you. Hi, I'm Sajad. I have a question related to the tire use case. It's challenging because in the tire case there are various factors. It's not only about how often do you change, but also about, especially if you're talking about the country in Egypt, it's the factor that the road conditions are one of the biggest factors, how they impact the tire, wear and tear and so on. So that result that you show, again, I'm not sure we need to put more details around how they came across to how they included that cost associated with it. But at the same time, the 20% reduction of the tire is saving on tire extra cost is again a question around, was it purely from the theft or more about the wear and tear, maintenance and so on. And the third biggest challenge with the tires is not the OPEX but the CAPEX. The sensors, if the tires are getting stolen or theft, I'm sure the sensors itself are very quite fragile in terms of how they get stolen as well. So how different challenges were attended to solve this issue?
So the main challenge was the enforcement reported the issues with the roads. The main here was that the issue came from the increase. That the main challenge is that they were changing the tires very often, and sometimes it was unnecessary to change them often, and it could be fixed in advance, so those expenses wouldn't occur. So the main issues why the expenses occurred is because the drivers were not paying attention to the condition of the tire. So they would drive way too fast, or they would there's a variety of factors to that. Plus they were stealing. So here as well it adds on to the cost. And so
I think to add to Karina said, monitoring the right pressure and the proper rotation, it also increases the life expectancy of the tires, so they would not be forced to change more often.
Just to add one point, this project is also important because of tire theft. Driver tires often replace newer tires with older ones, and the sensor
Yes.
helps to monitor it.
Yes. So this is one of the keys that the end customer experience again. Any more questions? No?
One question was regarding the Russian project, Jane. Were they forced to use ATEX certified devices, or that was not a priority for them to follow the anti-explosion, anti-spark systems?
I don't think that was the requirement.
Okay. So this was crude oil or
It's fine.
gasoline? You don't know, but you said it's not a requirement.
No, it was fuel. It was gasoline for the cars.
There is a Russian certificate for Russia. It's not ethics, very similar, but it's much cheaper for Russian manufacturers. So I think it was certified.
Okay.
I actually can answer some of that. You see, for this particular size of the tanks, they did not use capacitive type of the sensors. They use, I'm not sure how to say it in English, but it's magnetic, magnetic strip tip or somehow. Basically, for such kind of big tanks, capacitive sensors, I mean, we cannot really make them longer than, 6 meters, you know, so.
The accessories used to connect with the sensor.
I think so, yeah, I think their GPS trackers were used for
Yeah, actually, this is our trackers that we use in the project, so, and they were powered with the solar panel, and the battery used was gel, HM, so, which is actually suitable for solar applications. So overall, the system is not ETIC certified, but the sensor is, and that's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Regional construction projects.
I think it's good enough an answer from yeah. Thank you guys.
Okay, so let us proceed, yeah? So, let us talk about something a little bit more serious. Modern technologies have helped to simplify day-to-day operations of the first responders. Law enforcement and medical sector has numerous solutions available online. However, let's talk today more of how VLON can be used to help in the work of firefighters. Sorry. Our partner from Azerbaijan has partnered up with a local fire department in order to bring a solution which would help to optimize the work of the the dispatchers who are arranging the job of the firefighters during the fire. The main challenge here was to optimize the work, as sometimes they would not have proper communication with the firefighters, and precious time in saving someone's lives would simply run out. So dispatcher was required to have a full picture in order to coordinate the entire process more efficiently. To solve the problem, all of the firefighters were provided with a personal video recorder, which was equipped with LTE modem and GPS module. Mainly, cameras are being used within the first few hours, as those are the crucial ones to properly manage the team during the fire. As soon as the device is switched on, it starts to record that the video in 1080 quality to a device memory, and a live stream in 720 quality to a specially developed server. It was necessary to develop a separate server in order to conveniently receive all the videos from the devices and save them to the archive. Along the way, the server was creating a mosaic from all of the cameras belonging to a particular fire brigade for an easier access for the control room. This was all accomplished with the help of NVIDIA HPC. Within the VLON, partner has created a separate application which would help to retrieve the videos from their server. The control center was able to monitor the location of each firefighter and as well as the battery level of the device. And in a pop-up window, they could watch the online stream from the particular firefighter. And if they would choose a location of the vehicle, the mosaic from that particular fire brigade would appear for them. Technical, the solution has required a lot of custom developments. However, it has shown to be very efficient during the extreme situations. Every single minute counts in such a dangerous environment, and now the control room has a clear vision of the entire operation from the distance and able to guide their team more efficiently. That's it, Jay. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. As you all know, apart from VLAN, we always encourage our partners to use our web applications. One of the benefits of VLAN is that you can use several web applications under one client. Our partner did exactly that to win over the client from the competition. Our Romanian partner, Easttrack, had a client who specialized in furniture and furniture delivery. The client had several problems, starting with fuel theft. Going further, they also had a lot of expenses due to the damages of the furniture that was caused because of the bad driving behavior. Despite the fact that the furniture was selling well, they had constant delays with the delivery of the furniture. Also, the routing and planning would take several hours because our partner's client was using an outdated dispatch system. Being late for delivery or damaging the furniture can badly affect on the reputation of the company, which in some cases is even worse than losing money. Also, the client faced unexpected fees on the maintenance of the trucks due to the unplanned maintenance of the cars. At one point, our partners looked in at the right moment to convince the client by providing a solution that would cover their needs. It was not easy because the end client already had a tracking system. The client and our partner were located in the same city, which was the benefit because our partner could provide on-site support and assistance as well as training. Here, for the implementation, they showed Vienna's own fuel control module to prevent the fuel thefts. Using the logistics, they would show them how to take care of their deliveries. They have also provided free use of fleet fund to cover their interest on maintenance. Using the benefits of eco-driving modules, they would get notified whenever the driver would be overspeeding or taking harsh turns. The solution they had before was not good, and the client was looking for something better. Our partner took it like a pro, providing several solutions in a package to the client and more. One of the deciding factors for the end client, Casaruso, was logistics. They were truly impressed with the dispatch system because apart from the deliveries, they would also provide, the logistics would also provide route optimization. Our partner has managed to win the client over from the competition. They had one solution to cover everything. As a result, after implementing the solution to their 31 trucks, the client has decreased the fuel thefts. Using the logistics, the routing of multi-deliveries would take mere minutes for the client compared to the hours they used to spend on the routing before. The best part here is that our partner didn't have any extra expenses to introduce new solutions to their client because they were already connected together. The client was already happy with logistics, eco-driving, and fuel control. However, to make sure that the client would be satisfied for the future, they would also be training them on future as well. And as you know, they don't need to introduce any new hardware for the new solution. In this case, in total, as a result, our client has a solution that would cover their needs and more, and our partner has secured the client for the years to come because it has provided all what they request for the solutions and more. That's it for this case. Zain?
So as we know, MENA is popular for its diversity of implementation on projects that are vary in different niche markets. This case comes from an end client in Russia who is the owner of a private dairy farm business. The farmers were lacking to manage the healthy welfare of their cows. It was difficult to keep the track of their grazing routine, which affected their revenue they would generate from the quality and quantity of milk received from the cattle. Sometimes there were cases when some cows would walk far away when the farmers were not attentive. So this resulted in cows getting lost or even cow theft. This was like these farmers could not bear such losses because these cows were like these cows were like they costed around $1,500 each. They required a solution where they could identify and record data for each cow, for example, their weight, grazing routines, and health-related updates. For this, they needed a solution which could provide to record the individual data for each cow. Our partners, M2M Telematics, provided them with Violon and installed trackers that fit for animal tracking to save the devices from water damage and getting tampered by someone. They covered the trackers with corrugated power hoses, and Violon created units representing the cows and filled in all the information that could be recorded. The farmer also installed Violon mobile app in his phone, so now he could keep an eye on the movements of the livestock throughout the landscape at all times. Geofences were created on different green fields to plot grazing patterns for the cows and see what areas these animals have covered and at what time. The farmers had set online notifications, so whenever there was an unusual activity detected or when the cows enter or leave the geofence. The implementation resulted in bringing benefits to the owner. Now he could easily track the cow on the map and find them the cases where the cow got lost or stolen. So these cases came down to zero. They would effectively handle the grazing routine of these cows, choosing popular or uncovered green fields, which showed positive impacts on the result with the quality and quantity received of the milk. Their business is now prospering, and for this they also provide a word of appreciation to our partners. Yeah, that's it. So for our next case, Karina.
So our final case, guys. So it also comes from Russia, where the loan has been implemented for a day-to-day operations of a dairy product company. End customer is one of the largest dairy product producer in the two main regions. Their main points of distribution are local stores, hospitals, schools, and nurseries. The main client's request was to implement a temperature control to all of their vehicles to ensure the quality of their product. Without a proper temperature control, they were bearing losses in a product wastage. Not to mention that if a spoiled product would reach their clients, the reputation would be ruined. Apart from that, they were also requesting a fuel control and driver behavior. They have to be able to control the performance of their drivers. Our partner, 76 Oil to Win, was determined to reduce the cost for their end customer. The main objective was to ensure the safety of the product of all stages of transportation. So this way, job has been split into the three parts. First, the small trucks which were doing deliveries across the city, semi-trailers which were doing longer rides between the cities, and the warehouses itself. For smaller trucks, the main issue was that drivers were not paying attention to the temperature readings. With this in mind, our partner has installed an LED light inside the vehicle, which would blink in case of the temperature sensor readings would not be as per the standard. Furthermore, they have built a custom control of the heater inside the vehicle, as the drivers would usually forget to switch it off during the colder seasons, and hence the product would get overheated as well. For semi-trailers, the main issues are the size of the vehicle. Due to dimension, it was rather difficult to determine a correct temperature measurement. Hence, three temperature sensors have been installed for each vehicle. One was installed next to the door, one in the middle of the vehicle, and I think one was inside the refrigerator as well. This helped to determine a correct measurement throughout the different seasons as well. And finally, for the warehouses, they have also been supplied with all the temperature sensors and connected to a monitoring system for a 24/7 control. Apart from their temperature control, our partners have also provided the end customer with a driver behavior, temperature control, and they have also installed the system with a controlling the checkpoints when the drivers is arriving to the warehouses and when they're approaching different delivery points as well. And with the daily reports, the customer was receiving a rundowns of his fleet and performance of his drivers. Solution has been a lifesaver for the end customer. It ensured the constant control of the entire fleet and the assurance that their product is being handled in the correct way. With the implemented addition of a driver behavior and fuel control, the customer managed to improve the performance of his drivers and managed to save a cost on the malpractices. That's it for our cases. We have our final Q&A, so if you have any questions.
Thank you, guys. For the last presentation, I missed the point that they used LED lights, what they were used for.
LED. So the problem was that the drivers would just ignore the readings of the sensors and they were not reporting it, simply by just not checking it inside the refrigerator. So the LED light was kind of indication that there's something with the temperature, so bring their attention to check what's the temperature inside.
Thank you. And for the cow monitoring in Russia, do you know who's the hardware manufacturer of the devices they used?
I don't remember the devices, but I'll check.
It was Pneumatic AT&T.
Okay, so they used devices with the color on the...
It was just a personal trade device.
Do you know if they used special devices that are implemented in the body of the cow to measure the temperature of the cow, the body of the cow?
I don't have more information about it.
Because this is a major issue for the cow getting sick, so they know when to isolate it before the virus or the sickness spreads.
This device has an accelerometer, so if there's how it falls down.
It will be too late. But it's interesting to ask them if they have such devices that we implanted in the ear or in the neck.
You can read from the skin.
No. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
I think there was a similar implementation where to consider the animal's temperature as well.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't cows though, it was deers.
Deers.